Om. 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 Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Paper Vo Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavit Shavahai Om Shanti 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 समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीः अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुत्सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम. So in the fourth chapter, Bhagavan Sri Krishna tells Arjuna that this yoga, this supreme knowledge, was given by him to Vivaswan, sun god, who then passed it on to the first Manu, and then to Ikshvaku, the king, who was also a rishi. And then when Arjuna asked, Bhagavan said that he has had many births, and so have all of us. But Bhagavan knows his birth does not mean only physical birth, but whenever he manifests on earth, in whatever form, he's aware of all those. You and I are not. We don't even remember everything of this birth. Forget about previous births. And then Bhagavan said that he manifests from time to time by his own power, controlling his own prakriti, whenever dharma is on the decline. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. And when adharma is increasing, then he manifests. So today Bhagavan will tell us why does he take birth, and some other very beautiful shlokas of how we should live our life in this particular birth to reach Bhagavan. Very practical and beautiful shlokas today we will have. So chapter 4, shloka number 8. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam shaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Together. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So Bhagavan comes in every yuga, and sometimes many times in one yuga. He came in Treta Yuga as Bhagwan Sri Ram, in Dwapar Yuga as Bhagwan Sri Krishna. And whenever, and even before that, even before creation started, in the beginning of creation also, Bhagwan appeared. And that's why we have these Vishnu Bhagwan's Dash avatars. We'll talk about one of them today. So he says, why do I appear? Paritranaya sadhunam. Paritranaya, to protect the sadhus. Who are the sadhus? Not only the ones who wear orange, but what is the meaning of sadhu? We'll talk about. So to protect the sadhus, vinashaya cha dushkritam. Dushkritam are the evil doers. So for their destruction, I appear. To protect the sadhus, to destroy the wicked, and dharma samsthapanarthaya, for the purpose of establishing dharma, to re-establish dharma. Sambhavami, I manifest myself. I myself appear by my own power. Yuge yuge, in every yuga. So who are the sadhus? One idea of sadhus, of course, is those who wear orange clothes and take sannyas. But in Vedanta, sadhu is more than that. Sadhu is a person who has sattvic qualities, predominantly sattvic qualities. So these people who are very kind, very compassionate, do not have enmity towards anyone, ready to serve all, and conduct their life in a spiritual manner are sadhus. So that's what we have to look in ourselves, that we do we fall in this category of sadhus? How do we live our life? So Bhagavan says, when such people are suffering and evil people are becoming powerful and making the sadhus suffer, then I manifest. If ordinary human beings and ordinary powers are not able to take care of the problem, then I manifest. And we have seen last week also, but today we can see how to protect the sadhu Prahlad, he came as Hiranyakashipu. I mean, he came as Narsimha Bhagwan to destroy Hiranyakashipu, to protect Prahlad, who is a very, very sattvic sadhu child, and to destroy Hiranyakashipu, Bhagwan appeared as Narsimha Avatar, to destroy Ravana, who was evil, and to protect Vibhishan, who was a very, very sattvic individual. Bhagwan came as Sri Ram, not only to protect Vibhishan, but to protect the entire universe, including the three worlds that were being persecuted by Ravana, by Hiranyakashipu. To protect the Pandavas and destroy the Kauravas, he came as Bhagwan Sri Krishna. So whenever the need arises, Bhagwan appears. It is not only the physical destruction, but also destruction of wrong ideas. So Bhagwan, to teach this knowledge to us, gave us the Bhagavad Gita to remove all wrong ideas which were prevalent at that time. Bhagwan gave us the Bhagavad Gita, which even thousands of years later, we are still studying every word of it. has so much meaning. Bhagwan Sri Ram, throughout his Banvas, taught so many people, besides Lakshmanji, Vibhishan, and so many other people he taught. So when the old ideas are no longer relevant or society is being prevented from growth, Bhagwan appears. And I read somewhere that Bhagwan's avatar is at 3 levels. This is a very interesting concept. One, of course, as Sri Ram, Sri Krishna, Narsi avatar, Bhagwan appeared. And that is, we understand. That is Bhagwan. Then second level is in these masters and prophets. So Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji, who was an incarnation of Lord Shiva, Tapovan Maharaj, Pujya Gurudev, Swami Vivekananda, all these great masters and prophets who attained this knowledge not only with their effort, but Bhagwan's grace. And then they spread this knowledge to thousands and millions of people who have learned this knowledge from these great masters, from their writings, from their teachings. So these great masters are like ships, like huge, these huge luxury ships, all these, where they carry thousands of passengers from London to New York, across the Atlantic Ocean. So similarly, these teachings of these great masters help people like us to cross this ocean of samsara, bhavasagar. Bhavasagar mein doob raha hoon, they always say. So these great masters and their teachings are like these giant ships, which can carry all of us. So that is the second level. What is the third level, where Bhagwan can incarnate or incarnates in us? We are the third level. So how can Bhagwan incarnate in us? Because right now we are living in ignorance and we have a lot of negativities, wrong qualities in us. So Bhagwan manifests in us to remove our ignorance. So that's why when we study this knowledge and then this Bhagwan can appear. But for that, we have to have a clean place for Bhagwan to live. Even though Bhagwan is everywhere, but to manifest in my mind, I have to clean my mind. It's like a special guest is coming to your house. Don't we clean the house, make sure there is no clutter, everything is in its place. So we have to clean our mind, clean it of raga, dvesha, all the negativities, and purify our mind, make it loving, compassionate, kind. Get all these sattvic or sadhu qualities in us. And only then Bhagwan will appear. So how do we purify our mind? With karma yoga, we serve the world. With bhakti yoga, we love God and we surrender to God and always remember God and his divine qualities, which Bhagwan will talk in the next verse. So we purify our mind so that God can come and live there and remove the clutter, remove all the agitation, the disturbances, the likes and dislikes, selfishness. When our body is clean and our mind is pure, then that is the third place where Bhagwan can incarnate. And so that is our goal of life, should be that may God manifest in me. May I become one with God. Even though God is everywhere, he is unmanifest. How can I make Bhagwan manifest in my heart, in my life, I should be constantly. And that is enlightenment. And so many masters have done that. Bhagwan will tell us today. So how can I also do that? So those are the big ships, as we said, Gurudev or Shankaracharya ji or Tapovan Maharaj. We can become a small boat. I cannot be a big ship like them, but at least I can take myself across the ocean. And maybe one or two other people. I can talk to people and ask them to join me on this journey. Maybe distribute books, of Gurudev's commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. Encourage people to, listen to them. So in my small way, I should also spread this knowledge and make Bhagwan appear in my life. And that can happen by constant, sincere effort. So that is when Bhagwan manifests in my life and I become one with it. That is considered enlightenment. And that should be the goal of every spiritual seeker. And there's an interesting story of Akbar and Birbal. So Akbar was a Muslim and Birbal was a Hindu. And he used to read Hindu scriptures, and he tells Birbal, why does your God have to come? Why can't he send prophets and messengers? Our religion, Allah never came. He just sent Muhammad. Or in Christianity, the Father in heaven never came. He sent his son Jesus. Why do you, Ram and Lakshman, your God, themselves have to come? Why can't they send some prophets? So Birbal didn't say anything. He said, Jahapana, okay. Yeah, I will. Okay. He just said, okay. And he's waiting for an opportunity. So after a few days, they were going on a luxury boat, Akbar, huge, beautiful boat. Akbar with his whole family, children, grandchildren, and the royal family, and then some soldiers, and there were some good swimmers in case something happened. So Birbal made sure there were a couple of good swimmers with him, and he was going on the luxury boat. And as they were in the middle of the river, Akbar's favorite grandson, whom he loved with all his heart, he took him and threw him in the river. Akbar suddenly was startled. Oh, what happened? My grandson. Without thinking, he jumped in the water and pulled out his grandson. And of course, the two swimmers were there to help him, but he pulled it out himself. So Birbal said, why did you jump in the water? There were all these swimmers and servants. Why didn't you send them? He said, no, this is my grandson. I love him. It's the same thing. Bhagwan, when his children are in distress, he comes himself. Sometimes the prophets, but sometimes if required. He said that is why our Bhagwan manifests to protect all of us. Such a beautiful story. But Bhagwan won't appear when the Indian cricket team is playing Australia or Pakistan. We do that, our cricket team is playing. Some people will do Mrityunjaya mantra the whole day, or they will go to Vaishno Devi the day before. And it is good to pray. I'm not saying anything wrong, but there Bhagwan says, let karma take its course. If the Indian team is better, they will win. Yeah, prayer always helps. There we shouldn't expect, oh, Lord Shiva will come and destroy the Australians. So the point is that Bhagwan appears when his presence is needed. And then dharma samsthapanarthaya. We have talked about establishing dharma. What is dharma? Dharma is, of course, in this case, the right conduct. When right conduct is not being practiced, people are dishonest, corrupt. When they are not practicing the right conduct, not doing the right things, all the evil is increasing. Then he says, I appear, yuge, and I protect my devotees and destroy those who are torturing them. Also, as Shankaracharya ji, when he appeared, Buddhism, not the Buddhism of Buddha, but a very wrong concept of Buddhism where everybody was taking sannyas. That idea became so predominant in whole of India, and he wanted to remove those ideas and re-establish the Vedantic teachings of Advaita. So Shankaracharya ji, the Lord Shiva appeared as Shankaracharya ji. So to re-establish dharma, the right knowledge and the right conduct, he says, Sambhavami yuge. Now the next verse, Bhagwan says, what do I do when I appear? What do I do? Bhagwan says, when I come on earth, And if we are on chapter 8, verse number 9, you can check on your phone, chapter 8, verse number 9. Actually, it's in the office. आप इनको एक book share कर देंगे? Chapter 8, sorry, chapter 4, shloka number 9. आप शेयर कर सकते हैं ना? जी जी. जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम एवं यो वेत्ति तत्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन. Together we chant together. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. So Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, what do I do after I take birth? After I manifest? Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, when I appear on earth, what do I do? So he says, Janma karma. Janma means birth. Karma means actions. Janma and karma both. Cha me divyam. My actions and my birth are both divine, are special. They're divine. And evam, in this way, yo means yaha. Yaha veti tatvatah. In this way, whenever, yaha means whoever that person may be, yo veti, he knows me and knows my birth and my actions, tatvatah, in essence, not just superficially, but in essence. We'll talk about what is the meaning of tatvatah and what is this divya birth. One who knows that, what is the benefit of knowing that, Bhagwan? So he says, tyaktva deham, having given up this body, tyaktva, having given up this body, punarjanma, again rebirth, na eti, he does not come to rebirth, he does not get rebirth. Mam eti saha Arjuna, he comes to me, saha mam eti comes to me, O Arjuna. So one who knows my divine birth and my divine actions, in essence, does not get another birth. He goes beyond birth and death. He comes to me. So we'll talk about what is tatvatah, what is knowing my birth and my actions in essence. We say, oh, we know Bhagavan Krishna. He came, he was son of Devaki Vasudeva. He was born in a prison. He killed a lot of demons. He killed Kansa. He established, dharma. He removed the Kauravas, established Pandava. All that we know. You see, that is the superficial meaning of his birth. Yes, he did all those things. But in essence, who is this Bhagavan Krishna? What is he? What is he? Is he just the son of Devaki and Vasudeva? Or is Sri Ram just the son of Dashrath and Kaushalya? No, it is the supreme reality, Brahman, which is all pervading, which is the substratum of this entire universe, support of this entire universe. And in our life, that is Om. Om is the life, the consciousness. And in this BMI chart for the new people, the body is my body and mind and intellect. With the body, I perceive objects. With the mind, I feel emotions. With the intellect, I think thoughts. And V is the vasanas. And Om is God's presence. So God is in every one of us. God is in everything as consciousness, as even in the inanimate objects, consciousness is there. The Supreme Brahman is manifesting. Chara and Achara. That's why even in Ramayana we are studying that Sri Ram, he tells Sri Ram, you are in Chara and Achara both. You are in the moving and the unmoving, the animals, birds, plants, fish. everywhere the Supreme Brahman is present as in the moving as consciousness and existence, in the unmoving, that is the inanimate objects, as existence, Sat. So as Sat and Chit, he is there, and Anand means infinite. So Tatvataha means not only knowing God who is everywhere, but God who is in me as life, as consciousness, as the essence. So that is how we should know God, not only as God who is in the temple or the mosque or the church or, who as Sri Krishna or Ram or Saraswati or Mother Sir, all those, yeah, those are one should know, but one should also know who is God that is within me. And because of God's presence, I'm able to walk, talk, function. So my true nature is that. So that is called knowing Tattvataha, not only knowing him outside, but knowing within, and in outside also knowing him as the support and essence of this entire universe. That is called Tattvataha. So Janma Karma, both my birth, my manifestations, and my actions are divine, are infinite. We see, we know the story of Bhagwan, Sri Krishna, Sri Rama, Narsimha, Matsya, So today I was going to talk about Matsya avatar of Bhagwan Vishnu. Is a very interesting avatar. It is the first one out of the 10 avatars, the fish. So when did Matsya avatar appear, and what was his karma? What was the fish's manifestation? So two major things were done by Matsya avatar. One is when the earth was about to undergo pralay, get submerged in the deluge, Matsya avatar appeared as a small fish to Manu, the first human, and he said, he was in this small tank. He said, will you please take care of me? He said, of course, you can stay here. And he fed the fish, and the fish rapidly started growing bigger. And he then had to find a bigger tank. And he outgrew that. Then he found a ditch, dug a big hole in the ground, put water, and he outgrew that. Then a big pond, big lake, and he outgrew that. And he said, finally, I have no other place. I'm going to put you in the ocean. So he puts this huge fish in the ocean, which was Matsya avatar, Bhagwan Vishnu's first avatar. And soon tremendous rain came and deluge, and the whole earth was completely flooded with water. As the rain was happening, this fish tells Manu, just like the Noah's Ark, he says, you need to build a boat when the rain started. And in the boat, put all the seeds of all the plants and all the embryos of all the animals, birds, fish, all the seed in seed form, unmanifest form, or the created form, like the embryo, put all the beings. And so Manu does that, and then he takes his horn, the fish had a big horn, ties the boat to the horn and carries it to the top of the Himalayas. It is said actually the Himalayas, which is the highest mountain, the northernmost Himalayas, he carries the boat to safety, and the whole earth is completely flooded. Only this boat survives. Everything else dies, and then the water dies down. And then the boat comes down, and then the creation happens, and then a goddess appears as Shatrupa, and then Manu and Shatrupa start the creation and all these other plants, birds, animals. So that is one action of Bhagwan Vishnu as Matsya avatar. A second action so that is, you can say, Janma and Karma. The second is that when the Vedas were revealed by Brahmaji, the creator, there was an evil demon called Hayagriva, and he wanted the Vedas for himself. He said, if I have these Vedas, and if I have this knowledge, I can dominate the whole earth because nobody else will get this knowledge. So he took the Vedas and he dove under the ocean. He went to the bottom of the ocean and he said, I'll hide them here. I guess he must have put them in a waterproof container, some plastic, probably very strong. And he took them to the bottom of the ocean and he was keeping them safe. And everybody was worried. Where did the Vedas go? What happened? and Matsya Avatar came and penetrated to the bottom of the ocean, he found this evil Hayagriva who had the neck of a horse, body of a human, neck of a horse, and he was destroyed by Hayagriva. He was finished, and then the Vedas were protected. So that's what Bhagavan says. Whenever I am required, I appear, and my manifestation, my birth, and my actions are divyam. And one who knows this, in essence, he does not take another birth. So we say, yeah, maybe next birth, but what about this birth? And what is this death? And what is this birth, rebirth? So one is, of course, the physical death. The body dies and then we take another birth. The subtle body, the mind and intellect go to other worlds. And so that is the subtle birth. That is the subtle body. That is rebirth. But Rishis tell us that what is Jivan Mukti in this life itself, when you give up Deha Bhava, the idea that I am this body, that is the main birth. The death of the ego is another birth. And Raman Maharishi says, Ramana Vagyam Ahamapekavtam Nij Vijaninam Mahadidam Tapo Ramana Vagyam. So knowing that I am not this body, but something different from this body is the biggest tapas. Mahadidam tapo Ramana Vagyam. Raman Maharishi says that knowing that I am not this body, giving up this ego, aham means this ego, giving up this ego, knowing that I am that supreme reality, that is my true nature, that is who I really am, is the highest tapas. One, of course, tapas people sit in the forest and meditate, but he said, just stay in your house. Understand that you are not this body, not mind, intellect. You are that supreme Brahman, Om, that has appeared in this body. But not only knowing it intellectually, but becoming one with that knowledge, experiencing this knowledge that anything in this world is not me. Not this body is not me, the mind, the intellect, my desires, Today our meditation also was on that same idea. That be a witness. So the one who knows that and goes beyond the ego, that is enlightenment. So these masters, we see how they care for everyone. As we said, they have pure sattvic qualities. They have love, compassion for all. They have no anger, no greed, no jealousy. They are ready to serve everybody. So what is the death of this Deha Bhava? So Deha Bhava, so I was reading somewhere that they used to have many superstitions in the past. They used to believe that the earth is the center of the universe and all the planets, sun, moon, everything revolves around the earth. And then the other superstition used to be among some ancient tribes that the sun goes into the ocean at the end of the day and in the morning goes through the ocean, comes out again, and sun is traveling. So all these superstitions were there. But this master says, he says, the greatest superstition is thinking I am this body. If you think you are this body, that is the greatest foolishness you can have. It is worse than thinking the sun goes in the ocean, worse than thinking that the sun revolves around the earth. The idea that I am this individual body, this ego, this BMI is the biggest foolishness that we can have. And that is what one has to remove. That is called Jivan Mukti. That is called Jivan Mukti. And while living, I am alive. And we see that it can happen. And Bhagwan will tell us in the next shloka how to do it. But many masters have done that. So it's not something that is impossible. So many masters, even ordinary people, there are so many who have reached enlightenment, so many wonderful teachers like Kabir and Mirabai and Tukaram and Gyaneshwar Maharaj and Jesus and Muhammad and Buddha and so many great teachers, prophets have come from time to time, and they have all attained, and there are many others that we don't know. Not every one of them becomes a great teacher. Some of them just maybe ordinary housewives or householders, or maybe just living in the forest, meditating just by themselves. So he says, Punar Janma na eti mam eti. So one who knows that comes to me. So Gurudev in his commentary said that previously people used to think that what is God? No death, Amar, you know. That's why they do Prityunjaya mantra, may I become immortal. May I live forever, but that cannot happen. But masters realize it's not, I should never die, but I should not be born again. That is enlightenment. So one is not born after death, or in this life, I should never go back into that world of ignorance. Once you have woken up to the truth, that truth of Om, of reality, then such a person never goes back. That's what Bhagavan says. He does not go back to the world of ignorance once he has come to me. In the 15th chapter also, Bhagavan says, Yad gatva na nivartante tad dham paramam mama. He says in the 15th chapter, we won't go into detail, but just basically he tells us that one who has gone to that abode of mind, become one with me, then he does not need to come back to this world of ignorance. Also means one who has woken up to this truth does not go back to ignorance, just as when I'm in a dream and I'm thinking I have some robbers who came and robbed my house and are pointing a gun at me. And when I wake up from the dream, I'm afraid, but I say, oh, thank God, there is no robber, no gun. Then do I go back into that state? No. So same way, once I have woken up from this dream of this world, then I wake up to God's truth and I do not go back to this world of ignorance.
Eternal, right?
Ji?
It would be eternal then.
That will be eternal. Yes, that knowledge, one who has that knowledge, then that knowledge, he becomes one with the eternal reality. And then he knows that I am eternal. And then his body, of course, will perish. You know, the body will, whatever is created will perish. When Bhagwan Sri Rama, Bhagwan Sri Krishna gave up their bodies, all the great masters, Buddha and Shankaracharya, everybody, Puja Gurudev, they all gave up their body, but their soul is eternal. Their consciousness, they realize that they are eternal and they live forever in our hearts. As long as there is a Chinmaya mission, there are hundreds throughout the world, and there are thousands of devotees. As long as one devotee is alive, they will remember Swami Chinmayananda ji. Or as long as there is a single Buddhist in this world, they will remember Buddha. So these masters become eternal. As long as there is a single Christian, you know, Jesus Christ will never be forgotten. So these masters become eternal. One is they realize that eternal state, so they are eternal. Secondly, they always live in our hearts. We always remember them with love, with gratitude, with reverence. So that's why he says, one who realizes, then this person does not go through birth and death, becomes one with me. That's what Bhagavan says. Actually, we all are one with God, but we don't know it. That's why he says, one who knows it, tatvataha, in essence, then he becomes one with me. So this is the 9th verse about Bhagavan's, what he does. 8th and 9th verse tell us what Bhagavan does when he or she appear, even like Mother Durga, she appeared and destroyed so many demons. So they can be appear in a male form, female form, in an animal, bird, fish, so many forms. Bhagavan appears. Now the 10th shloka is a very good map on how to live our life. Very, very practical, very powerful shloka. I would recommend everybody to memorize the 10th shloka and to read Gurudev's commentary and see what is the actual meaning of that. Don't read the commentary right now, please listen to me, but afterwards read the commentary of how I, you, or me in our daily life can bring this shloka. It is a very, very practical shloka, very easy to apply. Very simply, Bhagwan has explained. So I'll spend a little extra time on doing this shloka number 10. Chapter 4, shloka number 10. Vitaraga bhaya krodhaha मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः बहवो ज्ञानतपसा पूता मद्भावमागताः. Together. वीतरागभयक्रोधाः मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः बहवो ज्ञानतपसा पूता मद्भावमागताः. Let's do one more time. वीतरागभयक्रोधाः मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः बहवो ज्ञानतपसा पूता मद्भावमागताः. Vita means vigata or completely gone. What should be completely gone from us? Raga, bhaya, krodha. Krodha. So raga, attachment, bhaya means fear, and krodha means anger. So these three, attachment, fear, and anger should be completely gone from our life. That is number one. Then manmaya, completely absorbed in me. Bhagwan says, in me, mam upashritaha, surrendering to me. And bahavo, many jnana tapasa, who have been with the tapas, with the austerity of knowledge, puta, one who have been purified with the knowledge, mad bhavam agataha, they come to me. So everything that is required for a spiritual seeker is in this path. So Gurudev in his commentary says, Vita Raga Bhaya Krodhaha is for the body. Manmaya Mamupashritaha is for the mind. Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Puta is for the intellect. And Mad Bhava Magataha is for the Falashruti. So when my body, mind, and intellect all are on this path, I will reach God. So what is Raga, Bhaya, Krodhaha? So Raga means attachment. So we have heard that before many times. When I'm attached to something, I want it, I want it, I want it. And then once I get it, I have fear I will lose it. Okay, my money is up. And tomorrow the stock market will collapse, my money will die, will go away, will get less. My position, I have a position, I have a power in the company, tomorrow I might get fired if there's layoffs. Or I'm president, and then next election I will lose, and from president I'll become resident, ordinary citizen. So there is fear. That first of all, attachment, it could be to a position, it could be to a person. This person I love, and then the person gets sick and, unfortunately passes away. Then I have fear, or I myself, this body, I have attachment to this body. And when I die, I'll have to give up this body. I have to give up all my relatives and my children and my money. And so we have fear that I will lose it. And then krodha is anger that I want something and I don't get it. I want something and somebody becomes an obstacle, like I want a position of power in the company and somebody else gets it before me, what I wanted, then I get jealous, I get anger. So Bhagavan says, physically give up desires, attachment, fear, and anger. Manmaya mamupashkitaha, surrender to me, keep your mind in me at all times. All times make me your goal and always be available to me. There's a beautiful story of Radha and Bhagwan Sri Krishna. So Radha loved Krishna, of course, and Bhagwan loved her too. And so one day she saw Bhagwan playing the flute, and she says, I'm jealous of this flute. So he said, why are you jealous? I love you. She says, no, but you spend so much time with the flute. You always hold it close and then you put your lips on it and you lovingly hold it. And the flute is never away from you. That's what Bhagavan was. As long as he lived in Vrindavan, he always had the flute. Of course, when he left the gopis, then he never played the flute again. But Radha watches him with the flute all the time. He says, you have the flute all the time. I wish I could be that all the time with you. What is the difference between me and the flute? So Bhagwan says, look at the flute. It is empty. Flute is empty. She has made herself empty. That's why I can play my music through the flute. So you and I, if we want Bhagwan to play his music through us, we have to make ourselves empty. Give up I, me, and my, the ego, and then make space for Bhagwan, as we said. Not only purify my mind, but make myself that I, me, and my am nothing. I am nothing. God alone is everything. And when we have that attitude that Bhagwan alone is, then Bhagwan manifests through us. That's why Kabir Das ji says, Prem gali badi sakri, इनमें दो नहीं समाए, जहां हरि वहां मैं नहीं, जहां मैं वहां हरि नहीं. If God is there, I am not there. If I am there, God is not there, because the path of love is very narrow. Two people cannot. So I have to remove I, me, and my, and say, God, everything is yours. Whatever I have is yours. All my abilities are yours. My powers are yours. My property, everything. In fact, whatever we have is because of Him only. Everything He has created. So what is actually of mine? Nothing. And that's what they say, that children also from childhood should be taught that not to be too attached to things. If we have children or grandchildren, giving them everything they want, it won't teach them, to develop detachment, and they teach them to share. So sharing and not spoiling them is teaching them the right values. And so from childhood, these values can be inculcated in children to develop detachment, to develop love for all, to develop sharing. And that is how we can develop this in our children. And another way in talking about children, say a little child has a knife in his hand or her hand. Accidentally, the girl got hold of this knife, and mother is afraid. And if she tries to pull it, it might hurt the child, So what should she do? She's worried. So she's wise, she's smart. So she brings a candy and gives it to the child, chocolate. And the child sees the chocolate, herself drops the candy, herself drops the knife and takes the candy. So similarly, you and I, when things are taken away from us, we say, no, 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 no. My property, my wealth, my family, my children, my job, my position, we are so attached to it that, even for one day, if my son who has gone to college doesn't call me, I get all stressed out and start crying. Or, as I said, my money goes down, I start crying. Or, something happens to my house. Just now we had fires in LA. And then we get all stressed out because we can't live without these things. And then, as I said, with attachment comes fear and anger and all the other things, jealousy, greed, and all. So how do we give up attachment to things and beings? Just as to the child, you give candy and she herself drops the knife. So masters have given us, hold on to the higher. Hold on to Bhagwan's feet, and automatically your attachment to things will go away, will reduce. So make Bhagwan your number one goal in life. Make Bhagwan. Then everything else will automatically become less important. It's not that we have to leave our house, and not everybody can go to the forest or go to the mission and become a Swami and all. You keep living in your house with your family, but they become less important, and more important is Bhagwan. And children, if they don't call me, it's okay. They are living their life, they are happy. Why do they have to call me every day? Because we get so stressed out. Oh, things, and also things will come and go. Jo aaya hai, wo jayega. Whatever I have got, I will go. This job I have will go. Whatever possessions I have, nothing in this world is permanent. So then we are easily ready to drop, just as the girl is able to drop the knife. So you and I can drop our possessions easily. If they are there, I enjoy them. If they are not, it's fine. As long as I'm holding on to Bhagwan's feet and loving him. And in that, we have to accept whatever is happening. See, in this life, good and bad always happens. So what happens? Good things happen. You say, everything is wonderful. If something bad happens, say, why did God create this world? We never ask, why did God create this world when everything is going fine? Do you hear anybody saying, why did God give me all this? No, when I don't have, then I say, why these bad things are happening? Why only I have to suffer? Why only good people suffer? We should realize that if sorrow is coming to us, that is also Bhagwan's love. Because with sorrow, I will expand, I will grow, I will go beyond sorrow. Otherwise, if we keep getting things, then we will become materialistic. Just as a child, you spoil him or her by keep giving them whatever they want, they'll become.
But do we also say that is part of karma?
Yes, it is also part of karma. Absolutely. That is the second point. That one is, it is because of karma. That is one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is, this is an opportunity for me to grow. Even if sorrow is coming, that is for me to grow, to get better. That's why Kunti tells Bhagwan Sri Krishna, she says, give me sorrow all the time. Give me. He said, why you want sorrow? She says, because in sorrow, I remember you. When I am happy, I don't remember. That's why they say, na, dukh mein sumiran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koi. Jo sukh mein sumiran kare, to dukh kahe ko hoy. Kabir Das ji says that people remember God when they are sorry, when they are not going well. Oh God, please take care of this problem, that problem, I am suffering. But nobody remembers God when they are happy. Then they say, oh, it was my doing. I am successful, I did it. When I'm suffering, God is doing it. But when I am doing great, then So he says, if you remember God, whether you are in joy or sorrow, if you remember God, then you will not have sorrow. Because if God is in your heart, even sorrow you look as an opportunity to expand, to grow, to get better. So one is, you can accept it as my karmas, but the other way to look at it is, even this sorrow, and we afterwards, when that sorrow passes, we look back, we say, actually, it wasn't that bad. Actually, that was a method for me to learn, to teach. So every opportunity that comes, that Bhagwan gives us, is an opportunity to learn. Every person that we meet in our life is our teacher. You can always learn from everybody you meet. It can be anybody. It can be your family, your boss, your co-workers, even the janitor. Whoever you meet is an opportunity for you to grow. So look at that Bhagwan has made this opportunity for me to grow, for me to get better. And I am here to learn. We are in this school. Our Gurudev says we are in this hospital, and there is a divine doctor, who is getting us cured, and we are all suffering from what? Ignorance, the disease of ignorance. And that's why we have taken another birth, because of vasanas, because of our ignorance, we have taken another birth. So how will I get out of this hospital, of this world? By knowledge. Knowledge is the only way. And in the hospital, there will be 3, 4 different kinds of patients, all different. Suppose, there is a, say, 3 or 4 patients next to each other in this big room. And one patient, he comes, he has a little stomach upset he gets IV, next day he's well, he goes home. Second patient has pneumonia, he has to stay for 1 week with antibiotics. Third patient needs surgery, appendix, so he's taken to the OR, his stomach is cut open, his, whatever diseased organ is cancer is removed, and then he has to stay 1 week. And the fourth one has a broken leg, and his leg is up in the cast, and he has to stay for a month. So they say, oh, this doctor is so the guy with the cast, he said, the doctor is so favorite to that guy, he discharged him in 1 day. And other guy, he only got some IVs, and here my leg is up. And the other one says, you is nothing, my stomach was cut open. The disease is different. So the doctor treats each one of us. So same way Bhagwan treats each one of us for whatever disease we are suffering. Some people get injection, some people get a pill, some people get surgery. So see that we are in this hospital and Bhagwan is our divine doctor. So whatever is happening, Bhagwan is for good. Never complain about anything, good or bad, it is all good. And they say, make Bhagwan your Sarthi. Now that's a very beautiful thing I heard. Say, Bhagwan, just as Arjuna said, Bhagwan, you are my Sarthi. You take me wherever you are going. You be my guide, and I follow you. I'll follow your advice. And he follows Bhagwan's advice 100%, not only in Bhagavad Gita, but also in the war. He says, Shishyasteham Shadhi Mam Tvam Prapan. I am your devotee, you please teach me, I'm surrendering to you. Even in the war, he completely followed Bhagwan's instructions. But what we do, we are riding with God, we make him a driver. We don't have a chariot, we make him a driver in our car. But what we do, we have a 2-control car, right? Just as when the driving school is there, the instructor has one and the student. So Bhagwan is driving and we have our own control also. So Bhagwan says, I am the driver, let me drive. He said, no, Bhagwan, you don't know. Bhagwan is driving, suddenly we jam the brake. Bhagwan will say, Arey yaar, main tujhe le ja raha hu. Say, no, I know where I am going. Or we turn the steering in the wrong direction. Or we keep blowing the horn, honking, making noise. Bhagwan says, keep quiet, let me do the work. But we don't. We keep interfering because I think I know better than Bhagwan. In this situation, I think, so they say, once you have given your car to him, given your boat to him, given your chariot, let him do it. And so same way they say, this body is your car, this body is your boat, surrender it. Say, Bhagwan, sab kuch tera hai. You take it wherever you want to take. That is not very easy, just as giving up the control of the car is not easy. So giving up our ego in this life is not easy. So give up your ego, surrender it to him, give up I, me, and my. And that's what Raman Maharishi says. Once you give up this ego, that is the highest tapas, that is the highest knowledge, that is the highest path, and mad bhavam agataha, and they come to me, Bhagwan says. So physically, who have given up anger, jealousy, greed, fear, selfishness, attachment, mentally they have surrendered, absorbed their mind in me, surrendered to me, and intellectually, where their ignorance has been burnt in the fire of knowledge. When those 3 things happen, so tan, mana, dhana, sab kuch seva, sab tera, we say. So everything of mine is yours. My body is yours. My mind is yours. My wealth, property, everything is yours. Kal kya lage mera. We say that. Oh, tan, mana, dhana, sab tera. Kya lage mera. Om Jai Jagdish Hare. We say that, but we actually don't mean it. Because it is and we are happy. This is the last verse of the Aarti khatam ho rahi, now prasad milega. But that is the most important verse of this. But we don't pay attention, we don't practice it. So that is the essence of these 3 verses. Bhagwan says that I come to protect the good, destroy the evil, establish dharma. And one who knows my birth and my actions, divine, they come to me. again. They do not go to another birth. And in the third shloka, we did only 3 today. There was a lot of commentary on that, so I couldn't get to the fourth one. But the fourth one we'll do next week. So Vita Raga Bhaya Krodhaha, those who have given up anger, fear, and attachment, surrendered to me and have the knowledge, they come to me. So we'll end here. We have time. If there's anybody has any questions, comments, either in the class or on Zoom, please feel free to add whatever you have any questions. Kusum, you have something to add?
Just a little bit. You mentioned about the incarnation, which was very nice to understand it. And also there is a second part of it also, that incarnations are Purna Avatar, which means complete all the aspects of God,
Right.
Which comes down to the earth as Avatara, which is Lord Sri Rama and Lord Sri Krishna. There are Purna Avatars, means complete Avatar. And the other ones are called ounce Avatar, which is just a fraction Avatar, which only does the karma that is needed at that time and correct the thing, which was
Right.
like the Matsya Avatar that you mentioned, Kurma Avatar. Those were just the Ansa Avatar, Hansa Avatar also. So those 2 points I just wanted to add into those 3 aspects that you talked about, God himself, the saints, and also our own Atma. And these 2 are. So we should reach to that Purna Avatar probably to their self-realized. Also the other thing is, if you, then you can choose any of the avatars as your prayer deity. It doesn't have to have this one or that. That's why we have so many forms we can choose from any deity.
Right.
And it also is said that Saguna Avatar you pray or Nirguna with faith, the goal is equally same for both of them. But Saguna Avatar is easier for us because we are Deha oriented, that's why. But both of them are just reaching the same goal. So that was Saguna Nirgun Bhakti is the same goal. There's no difference. And the last one you discussed, it was very detailed one, which describes the 3 paths to self-realization or self-unfoldment, which is the Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga, all 3 included in that verse number 10. Because you said it's body related, the Vitaraga, Bhaya, Krodha, and the other one for mind and intellect. So it signifies also, it detailedly describes also the Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. So I thought we just added that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. So we'll end here. We'll see you next week. As I said, we will have a regular class from 11 to 12. And then we will do the Ram Navami Puja in the hall. It will be the culmination of 9 days of chanting that will end on next Sunday at 12 o'clock. And also the mayor will be here. So, but we'll have a regular class. We'll do the next shloka from 11 onwards. We'll end here. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhave. Om Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.